David, Dr. David and Ashley, come back on. Okay. All right. So I love when technology goes smoothly because sometimes it doesn't. Welcome to RenéMarie Stroke of Luck. This is the second show. It's called A New Path. I thought it was really interesting I always think about the show. I always kind of pull it together and then I'm like, what would be the best title, right? And we're all going down a new path. It doesn't matter whether it's today, tomorrow, yesterday. We're all kind of trying to find our journey down a new path. And Celeste is back and Ashley's back from the first show. And thank you for joining us once again. I know it's really a lot of time dedicated and gifted to us on a Sunday morning, especially. So thank you so much. And then we have Dr. David Moore. Dr. David Moore and I had met, it's got to be over 10 years ago when I worked for the Wanakee Reserve. His mother had bought a condo in the Wanakee Reserve. And I remember meeting you in the clubhouse and us chatting and us connecting then. And you had mentioned when we talked, and we'll get into this later on, that I had asked you to be on my show back then, which is, I was doing it back then. So I don't remember that. So I have to look through my files to find you on my show. Before we get to the show, though, I do want to talk about the, what is it called? The comedy show we're doing. Please join us to the comedy show, the October 3rd, A Night for a Cause. We have wonderful sponsors. I know I said this in the last show, but I want to make sure I say it again on this production. I want to thank Diane Bromberg for her incredible, selfless dedication to the health industry. She really does try to just help everybody. She's a helping hand. And she actually found these sponsors for us, which are a part of her group, which is a senior resource group of New Jersey. She does an incredible job. You can look on our website, RenéMarie Language of Love. You can look on Facebook for her, Diane Bromberg Stern. She just, I can't say enough about Diane. She got us 3 sponsors, which are Kinetics, Historical Speakers for Seniors, and Applause Home Care. I will tell you that all these sponsors and all these companies really do things from the bottom of their heart. They want to help people. They want to make sure that people are living a great life, or if you're ill, that to help you to sustain and to really live the best life you can at that particular moment. So please, please, please look on their websites and reach out to them. They'd love to have a conversation with you. So that being said, we're going to start this show because Dr. David is a chiropractor. He was a chiropractor back when I met him at the Wanakee Reserve, but he's transitioned into some wonderful stuff that really, really caught my attention, because everybody knows, as we spoke on the last show, that, you know, positivity and your brain is so important in your life. And he talks about, I'm not going to be able to even repeat what he said in our Zoom green room, because he's got so much knowledge in that brain of his. But I do want to share that Celeste and Ashley, they're so positive in their work that they do on this earth. So we're really lucky to have them as a part of this show. We're going to let Dr. David share a little bit about, you know, your intention, and your intention is to transcend your spirit. Start off with that, Dr. David.
Well, hi, thanks so much. And thanks for the great words. And thanks for all the work that you do in creating a community, safe place for people to come and just share time and share their journey. I love that conversation about journey today. And we journey together, right? So you don't have to journey alone, and you've created a place where people can come and not feel alone, which is awesome. So for me, when we met, I was doing a lot of speaking at times with my office. I always talked about lifestyle and nutrition and health. And I spoke up to the seniors at Wanakee Reserve. So when my mother-in-law wanted a place and you did such great programs. So my mother-in-law was looking for a place to live. That was the first place I thought of, and she bought a place there. So super happy there. So for me in particular, back when you met me, it's interesting. I'm a chiropractor 27 years, but physically my body was breaking down. I had some major injuries when I was a kid. That's how I got into chiropractic. Lots of sports injuries, auto accidents. So By the time I was about halfway through my career, which I loved serving people. I loved being a chiropractor. I had like a wellness practice. It wasn't like car accidents, which is nothing wrong with that, but I was more of that kind of practice, family practice. Halfway through my career, my body was breaking down. We were taking care of tons of people, and I realized I couldn't do it much
Yeah.
longer. And as a chiropractor, seeing the results of what happens when your body breaks down like decades down the road, I knew I was causing more damage helping people, and I was in a really tough place. So out of kind of trauma, I was like in a weird spot. And at that time, I knew I couldn't do it much longer, and I was a little freaked out, right? So I was on a Friday night. I bumped into a friend of mine who's a super successful hedge fund guy, Cantor Fitzgerald. We used to work there, and he had to 9/11 on 9/11, and he came to work late that day, and saw many of his colleagues, perish, people jumping out of the building. He spiraled into this alcoholism and addiction and all this crazy stuff. So this is years later, and he was no longer dealing with that anymore. But he kind of asked me if I'd ever heard of transcendental meditation, and I had never heard of it. So half listening to like for him, and like half like I got to do something to deal with my anxiety and stress. I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm doing with my life and aches and chronic pain. And that's kind of probably when I met you at that time in life. That's when I started to explore that. And I explored breath work and ways to manage my autonomic nervous system. As a Christian, I asked my pastor if like what was that all about. And it was kind of linked to Hinduism and stuff. So for me, as a chiropractor, if I find something and the moment I did any sort of breath work, I was like, whoa, this works. Like there's something here. Like I
Right.
gotta. So
Right.
as a chiropractor and as a service person, as you guys are, it's like, how do I learn this for myself? And more importantly, how could I teach this to people? If they can lower their anxiety, lower their stress, sleep better, deal with their pain, like that was like 9 out of 10 people in my office, and it was me, right? I am my avatar. So I was like, I gotta learn how to teach this. So that started me on a journey of kind of understanding how to regulate the autonomic nervous system. For me, as a doctor, I need to be able to measure it. We use heart rate variability to measure it, track it, be able to know that we're doing what we're doing. So it started me on that journey, and since then, we've created this program called the Breakthrough Blueprint, where we literally are able to regulate people's autonomic nervous system, which is what runs your physiology, what runs your health, through some pretty cool tools.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I don't even, the physics, what did you just say? Like the system?
So physiology means your biology, right? Like
Okay.
physiology means like my anatomy working. So my physiology means like when I eat food, then my body knows how to digest it and automatically knows how to do that. You don't have to think about, well, let me go break down that steak
Right.
from last night. I
Right.
forgot. Like your body knows how to automatically breathe when it needs to breathe. It does a ton of things automatically, and how that autonomic nervous system is set, it indicates your health, right? So it's running your health. So it's the part of your brain that's running your biology, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
and it turns out, and this is the kicker, right? Your feelings and your emotions are driving your physiology. So that's kind of my whole mission, is for you to realize that when you have a feeling, there's a physiological or a biological reaction to that.
Right. Right.
So if you're so with your so here's the kicker. Whatever your consistent feelings and thoughts are kind of giving you your predictable health outcomes.
Right.
So the
Right.
question becomes, what are you thinking about all week? Like it's like,
Right.
and if
Right.
it's stress and it's anxiety, it's work like most of us are, we need to really capture that as a fact and realize, well, that's causing a very particular biological pattern in my body consistently. And if I'm wondering why my health outcomes are, I have to consider that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to consider it. It may not be the full reason. I would argue it's a big reason, but at least I want people to realize that, man, your feelings and your emotions are driving your health. What are you thinking
Wow.
about?
And that's very interesting because I know, like, I don't know if you watched the whole last show, but we were talking about like Celeste went on a
I was
Camino.
in the shower.
No, I'm just saying, Celeste went on a Camino walk, right? So it was her way to do what's it called? Detach from, right, Celeste? It was your way to detach from the world, right? Go ahead.
Well, uh, well, it was during a life-changing situation, which was, first I was an actress singer, then I was a speech pathologist, then I was returning to my theatrical career in New York. And between that time of the retirement and returning to that former career, I wanted a change. I knew I was going through a change, but I wanted a risk. I wanted an adventure. I wanted to recapture a lot of the physical that I had in growing up in my life, constantly hiking and exploring. And so I went on this originally as just a physical and mental challenge to walk
Mm.
backpack for 200 miles. And fortunately, the Camino adventure gave me a lot more than just the physical challenge. And really, not to sound too ethereal about this, but it was a life changing experience because it led me to create my own one woman show that I've been fortunate enough at the age of 72 to perform all over the United States and even internationally.
But what a gift that you were guided to take that leap,
Mm,
right?
mm,
Celeste, right, Dr. David? That she took that leap to kind of transition, right?
Well, that's the
Sounds
whole point. That's the thing. So you
into
didn't
it.
expect that what happened was you transcended your spirit was transcended through the experience. Like you
absolutely.
thought it was mental, physical, but really what happened was like, and that's the shift. Like then you can now be good, almost what I call get that second chance at the first dream. Like when you're in the like you start to do the mental, physical stuff, and all of a sudden you get the spirit, you reconnect with who you really are. And man, that's so much fun.
Absolutely. And, it's interesting. I was trying to attend to everything you were saying. And I happened to, in this last performance in California, connect with a cousin who I really hadn't seen in 30, 40 years. She's a psychotherapist, very smart, very wise. And we were talking about, interesting in the light of this. I don't want to use this as a form of braggadocio, but I'm very fortunate at this age that I've had no ailments, no physical. I always make the joke if I get a splinter, I'm crying because nothing has ever happened to me and my health is very good. And my cousin said to me something along the lines, when you're feeding all the aspects of yourself, the creative part, the artistic part, that is what's giving you your health. And I never thought of it that way. I'm usually thinking of like, why don't I have any aches and pains? Everybody around me has aches and pains. And maybe I'm just fortunate enough to be doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Uh, why else? I don't know. So if the Lord above is saying, Celeste, you're going to be healthy so that you can take care of all the people around you, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll be the caretaker.
But you drive yourself to do that, right? It's your decision in your life to move in that direction, even though there are other voices and other correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. David, that there's other voices and other things pulling at you. You stayed focused on what your purpose was and what you should be doing. Am I correct?
Well, I'm trying. I'm
Yes,
trying.
yes, yes.
You know, there's something called the gate pain theory. When you focus on pain, your body, your nervous system, your autonomic nervous system will know that if you are in pain, then you must be in an environment where pain is possible, and it actually makes you more sensitive to pain. So that being said, pain is happening in your brain, not in the body part, right? So if you are at a higher level or frequency, we talk about David Hawkins transcending of the spirit, right? So shame and guilt and down at a 20, love is a 500. So it's a completely different frequency. So if we're in a place of love and we're experiencing that aspect of our life, it's almost doesn't even compute, right? But when we live down here, we don't even remember what love feels like. So it's just a matter of how do we transcend, and you did it through massive amount of exercise and physical activity, which is awesome, but it also could be done other ways a lot easier as well. So I am all about the journey, you know, and I walk around with a weighted backpack every day, and I do it and listen to spiritual stuff. Like that's how I connect with God in the morning. So I do that every day. But there's ways to connect with our nervous system to transcend ourselves to those places automatically, and that's kind of that's what I teach people to do. And that's what I do every day because I need to do it every day. You know, I
Give
love
us
it, but I do this not out of like, hey, this is a good thing to teach people. I do this because it's an incredible tool that I need for myself. And I just love to be able to share that with people.
Before we get to Ashley, because I want to have Ashley in on this conversation, give us an example of one of the things you do, one of the things you teach that could help.
Well, we do it in three parts. So for example, like so let's just you said the physical, right? So the physical part of it is the when we reconnect with the heart. So just by reconnecting with the heart and acknowledging the fact that the heart is this not just a pump of blood, right? It's this place of there's 40,000 neurons in the heart. It's a muscle. It could be relaxed. Oftentimes it's tight because we're protecting it. It's been there our entire life. It was beating. First thing we do when we go to see a baby in uterus, right, is at how many weeks is we go hear the heartbeat, right? The heart's
Right.
there. It's been there through every experience on our life. It's been through our most loving, wonderful experiences, our scariest experiences. So just acknowledging the heart, right? So what we do, the first part to reconnect with the heart is just breathe through the heart. We take our focus away from our brain and we put it around the heart. You could actually relax this area and breathe through that area. So there's a very important element, and that's how we connect with the physical body. Most breath work is like that. Like it's you're breathing through your heart. So we start where most breath work kind of start and stops. But that's a very important piece to it. And then the next piece is reconnecting to the mind. So it's a heart, mind, spirit process. Just like Celeste did, you know, out walking, it's just done very systematically and very quickly using heart rate variability. So we'll talk more about it, but that's kind of how we connect with that heart piece because ultimately we connect the mind with the heart work. And that's when we start to see that heart rate variability measure go up into something called coherence in the body, which is a very healthy, it's a very healthy place to be. It's where we actually entrain all of our autonomic nervous system starts to sync up into called rest and digest, and it's the healthiest place to be. Unfortunately, it's the opposite of fight and flight where we typically live, and fight or flight is typically supposed to be designed for an event, but for some reason we've decided to live there, and
Right.
it's creating bad health outcomes where this health outcome, scientifically proven to cause health and reverse a lot of the negative effects of those things. So it's really a health thing, but it's done through connecting with the heart and through connecting with higher levels of emotion.
I have a question for you before I bring Ashley in because I told you this, like I totally agree. Like everything you're saying, like all your belief system, I totally am on board with that. What I think is hard for some people to gravitate towards that is how do you get people to understand it, right? Like I am in line with you and I understand it and I get it and I work on it every day. But somebody that's not in that place and they are having, they had a stroke and they have to understand that your mind plays a big part, but then your mind has had a trauma that it can't grasp it. So what do you do about that? How do you navigate around that? How do you get them to slowly understand that? And maybe it's a hard question.
Now we're moving to the mind, right? So
Yeah,
we connected
yeah,
with the heart,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
the
that's
mind.
important.
Yeah.
So now how do you get to the mind? Well, when I work with my clients, what we do is first of all, have you ever been super happy? You ever
Hmm.
had that moment? And like, so we want to get to that place where we can tap into that feeling, right? Thoughts are for the brain, feelings are for the body. Okay. So when you have a thought, okay, It's a thought. It's like it's a thought, right?
Yeah,
Until you focus on that thought and attach a meaning to it from your emotional past. What the heck is that thing, right? Oh yeah, grandma's apple pie.
yeah,
All of a
yeah, yeah.
sudden you smell it, right? You
Right,
think of it, but when you think of it and then you feel grandma's apple pie, you smell it. There's actually you can actually almost smell it. You have a you if you can measure, there's a digestive response when you think of grandma's apple pie, similar to when
right,
you actually had it in front of you, right?
right,
You can smell it, you can taste
right,
it. There's a feeling. So what happens, your body has a feeling, okay? So what we want to do is discover in your life those places, feelings, those times in your life that it creates that emotion. Okay, because I don't care how sad you are. There's a time when you're happy, right? So, and
right,
I know you're sad because you've literally used this process to keep you yourself down at that level. Because you're consistently having thoughts that are creating consistent feelings that are creating that consistent reaction. So we have to get you out of the muck, is what you're saying. Like, how do I get out of here?
right,
Like, I
right,
hear you, doc. Like, great, good for you. You know, good for me. I have tough days too, right? So how are we gonna do this? So we're gonna identify that. So what I've done is we will go through a slideshow and get the pictures that you think, and this is weeks into the process, but probably
right,
second
right.
week, where you're bringing up pictures of grandma, and we start to identify. And I've worked with some pretty PTSD, 5 tours in Iraq, people that have been really dealing with a lot of PTSD, and they've done the work to neutralize. So now what they need to do is how do we program in love? Okay. So we start to reverse engineer what's already brought them down here by start to connect with those pictures. So I let them pick pictures. So for me, example, what I did was I saw pictures of my kids. My heart rate variability level went up. Remember,
Right,
we're using metrics.
right.
So heart rate variability went up. When I saw a picture of me and my daughter walking in the zoo, me holding hands with her, the memory, for some reason, that feeling went through the roof. All right. When I saw my parents, I would thought it would, I love my parents. I love my mom
Right,
and dad. I love
right.
my
Yeah,
mom.
yeah,
But they punished me. Maybe there was some mixture there. When I saw my grandparents, like I'm the golden boy. I could do no like
yeah.
so all of a sudden we start to identify, there's certain moments in my life that bring me there. So if you have a heart rate variability monitor on and we're bringing about past memories in your life that you already think are positive and we start to fine tune that to discover that, now we're tapping into something. So now we're able to start to recalibrate your mind
Right,
to a place of love, and we're seeing it metrically. And if we can keep you there for 10 minutes in the morning, and we can keep you there for 10 minutes at night, right? I call it my Happy Gilmore happy place, right?
right,
Where
right.
you're emitting this emotion and this feeling that's measurable, you will start to recalibrate how your nervous system responds. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty
Yes,
cool. And
yes,
it's a process. Is really what it is. It's
yes.
like getting on a treadmill twice a day.
Right, and it's consistent, right? You
Not as
have to,
hard though, because you're talking about feeling. So you're feeling in
yeah,
love for 10 minutes
yeah,
instead of
yeah,
sweating on a device.
yeah.
So like
And
if you can
yeah,
work in a 10 friend over 10 minutes, you can spend some time in as most emotional bliss as possible. Because two things start to happen. You do start to recalibrate your nervous system. So during the day when you're not doing that, you don't seem to transcend down as much. And quite honestly, sometimes you'll start to see yourself having much easier responses to your life.
wow, wow. Ashley, I know you've been sitting patiently waiting for me to ask you a question, but I think I just get fascinated by that world, of
Yeah.
positivity. I read a book many that began me on this journey called Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting by Lynn Grabhorn. That was the first book that I've read that actually taught me that you had to feel it. You're not you have to feel it. And that's what you're talking about. You have to feel deep in your soul about what you want. So do you practice any of that? Do you because you're very positive, but I just
I
wanted to
know.
ask you if you practice any of that.
Um, so I'm trying to meditate more. Um, that has been difficult for me, like finding the time and my mind races. But I actually booked in end of September, I'm going to Sedona, Arizona,
Ah,
and we have the
wonderful.
energy vortexes. So I actually made a guided tour to like have someone like self like guide you through meditation in an energy
Wow.
vortex. So I feel like that'll be a nice wellness trip for me too. I've been wanting to go there for a long time. So I feel like that's a good place to do it too.
That's good. Yeah, that can begin you on this new trail, right? This new
Yeah.
trail that you're going down to
Yeah.
work on your spirit with
Yeah.
aligning with your heart and your mind, like Dr. David says.
Yeah, but I also do like breath work too. Like working out, or like if I'm just sitting there to relax myself, I usually do breath work too.
That's incredible. That's
Mhm.
incredible. That's real. Celeste, do you meditate or anything?
No, I don't. Actually, I've never really tried it. I think too much of a racing mind. I think for me, the physical has always brought me to a point of relaxation. Um, and so the walking has really helped me, as I mentioned in the prior, or maybe I didn't, the prior podcast. That practice of putting one foot in front of the other for so many days was such a variation from life, where you might be walking in your regular life, but you have to go to the laundromat, you have to pick up your daughter at the train station. There's never a time when you are freely have nothing to do but put one foot in front of the other for hours every single day. And it brings you to a definite different space in your head. So I was thinking of Ashley. Maybe she has to walk the Camino.
So we all should. That sounds amazing.
Wow.
You know,
I
I
know.
wanted to mention something because I'm thinking about you guys and Ashley in particular. What we're talking about, and even Celeste, requires a discipline. It's not something that, as a matter of fact, those who think they can't are the ones that need to do it the most, just so you know. Hypervigilance is a thing. Like you wired yourself to be that way, and we're comfortable. We think that's the way well, I can't do that. Well, those are the ones that need to. And there's something called neuroplasticity. Okay.
Mhm.
So by forcing yourself through what seems to be impossible, even when it is impossible, and not winning every time, but forcing your butt into that seat. And I'm not talking meditating. Meditating is a kind of weird thing for me. I'm just talking about breathing and getting yourself into this other state where you feel love. Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, if your brain is scattering away from relaxation and love, that can only be a defense mechanism. And that's what we do. Like wake up in the morning, we have a cortisol spike. It's the hardest time to do this. It's probably the most important time to do this, followed by the second most important time is before you go to bed. But because it's hard to do, like I get it. I'm ADD, right? So this forcing yourself to do that, getting the thoughts of I don't have the time for this. This is ridiculous. What the hell am I doing? Like, that all that stuff comes in
Right.
your always comes in your brain. But to settle yourself down and saying, I'm going to take control over this body. I'm controlled over this mind. You know, I'm good for this period of time. And you start to get used to it and keep letting. So as it comes up, let it go. Because it comes up, you may do 2 minutes, and maybe 5 minutes. But work in that muscle, you will build neuroplasticity and you'll start to gain more control over that scatterbrain stuff if you're into it, but I'm saying is don't discount it, especially if you don't feel like you're that kind of person. It's a discipline. Like I love that, Celeste. I literally put a weighted backpack on every day and I go walk. Whether I put a podcast on or I don't, sometimes I don't, and I just walk in nature. And there's just something about that spiritually. I mean, there's the whole physical element, but I now do it because that's how I reconnect. It's something
Right.
about walking and breathing, and I don't know, they did it, and the ancients did it, right? They were walking for their water and their whatever they did, it was just I love that idea for some reason.
Yeah, sometimes you don't have to be sitting meditating, right? I mean, I think there's different ways to meditate. Sometimes in my world, I really can't go out for a long walk, although I have, over when I go on vacation or something because of my knee and stuff like that. But sometimes I just walk around my house and I clean and I don't have anything on and I'm really connecting to the source that I believe, and just trying to get into that world that helps me, you know. So I don't necessarily think you have to sit with your eyes closed to meditate. I think you can be walking like you are, or like Celeste was walking, or like Ashley's going to do. I actually just watched an Oprah podcast yesterday. I forget the young boy's name. Maybe you'll know who it is, Dr. Dave. He walked across the country. He was a singer. He walked across the country. And when he was halfway across the country, he got bit by a snake. And it like blew up the social media and stuff like that. And he's like, it's so funny because his story was, you know, he at 17 or 18, he got to be very big success in the music industry, but then it started to dwindle down. And then he was like craving to get back to that place. And I think he got back and he got another hit single, but then he's like, I have to walk across the country. I have to walk. There's something that's telling me I got to walk across the country, you know, to bring communities together and stuff like that. So we started to walk across the country, and it wasn't until he got bit by that snake that his big social media blew up, and he got the success again for his name out there. But now, you know, he's writing stories about it. And the other thing was that
Well, it's biblical, right?
yeah. And the other thing that I got from him was, and this is, you know, he said that he was in the studio doing, you know, recording all these songs, but people said to him, you got to get out. You got to get out to write songs that connect to people. So, you know, that was another reason he walked across the country, to start to experience and meet people and meet different people. It was a wonderful story. I love the Oprah podcast. It's just very inspiring to me. So yeah, so I don't believe you need to be sitting meditating, because my head does spinning wheels too, like Celeste, you know.
Well, just also realize what I'm doing ultimately is to drive you into something that's a healthy perspective. So remember, as a chiropractor, I'm not a psychologist.
Yeah.
I'm a human
Yeah.
being, and I love connecting with people so they feel better. But the truth is, as a doctor, if watching horror films and like whatever evil news made you healthy, then I'd be telling you that's what you have to do to get healthy. So I'm just happy that it's not. And
Yeah.
because the purpose is to literally start to see what becomes the healthiest state of your healthiest state you can have, right? So we're talking about stress, chronic stress, you know, being in fight or flight, causing the top killers in our country are heart disease, heart attack, right? Painless, you don't even know you have it, but you're in fight or flight long enough and you cause, you know, issues with your heart. And same thing, cancer is, you know, your immune system gets impacted by being in fight or flight. So we know that how to shift to the healthiest place where your body's creating oxytocin, it's creating DHEA, growth hormones happen in coherence. When you're in stress, it's only cortisol, you have negative hormones, your body is breaking down, your insulin's a mess. So we're not talking about just being happy here. I'm literally talking about how to create health,
Yes.
especially
Yes.
if you're dealing with the nervous system.
Yep.
Your limbic system gets hijacked, right? Your amygdala is firing off like crazy when you're under stress. So there's a literally, and even when you go to sleep, you think you're resting, but the hormones have been pumping all day. That's why you're waking up at night, even if you get to go to sleep. So there's a lot of things that we're helping people with, not just feeling better. So it is important to take control, know that you have the ability to regulate your autonomic nervous system. It's also important to realize that most people's chronic illness is a result of dysautonomia, or their autonomic nervous system is off. So the ability to regulate that definitely goes beyond just feeling better. But like I said, it's kind of a fun way to do it, because now you're really connecting with love and appreciation as the vehicle that drives those higher healing version of you, as opposed to staying in a place that is never even tapping into that.
Right. Excuse me. Talk to us about this, the brain body breathing, the free session you have online. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Great. So School Community, SKOOL. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. They thought no one middle aged would ever leave Facebook, but I've gotten 60. You said 65. I don't know how many's in there. 65 or 75 people are in my community now. And what it is a place where I'm having this conversation with people. You know, it's free. There'll be a link here, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But what I did was I created a little course in there. It's a 20-minute modules each. It's 1 hour. The last module is my breath technique. It's a breath technique. And I bring you through the idea that your thoughts and your feelings are driving your physiology. I show you how you have 60,000 miles of blood vessels in your body. There's a middle layer called the tunica media, which is a muscular layer, which allows your blood vessels to constrict or to dilate. So your autonomic nervous system in a second can constrict 60,000 miles of blood vessel, increasing your blood pressure or opening them up. So there's such power over your autonomic nervous system in an instant. And you should understand what's going on when you have feelings in your body on a physiological level. And then I show you there's ways to regulate it. And then I show you how to do the breath work. So it's a cool little course, but it's a great way to connect because it's a community. We post in there, people talk in there. And it's also, there's a link in there that I have a free get acquainted call. So if you're having issues or you're concerned about your health or your physiology, you're trying to control your racing thoughts and things like that. I love getting on phone calls with people or Zooms with people.
Yeah.
I'll spend 20 minutes with you, whether you work with me or not. It'll be valuable. We'll get to meet each other. I learned so much from those calls,
Yes.
regardless, that it allows me to help people. So if you're even considering or you're wondering or you're curious, we'll book a call and we'll hang out for 20 minutes and we'll see what's going on with you. And if there's something I can do to help you, and maybe there is, or maybe there's not, we'll still connect and become friends and find out how to help each other.
Yeah, that's like that gentleman that and Celeste met two sisters. Tell David a little bit about, just really quickly, because I know you said in the first show about your journey and you were by yourself and all of a sudden you met two sisters, which are actually sisters, not nuns, which I thought were nuns. So she met those people and they're the ones that made the difference in her life. So tell David a little bit, Dr. David, a little bit about that.
No, I began the hike with the two sisters.
Oh, you began the hike.
My pace was faster than theirs. I thought this was going to be a piece of cake, but they were elderly warriors. Their longevity was astounding. They challenged me in ways that I could never imagine. And this was, as my first director said, you'd never have a show if it weren't for the incongruity between you and these two crackpots. Kind of funny to think, but this is what really created the show, being with people so different than myself. And I just want to insert here, it's kind of off topic, but on topic, because my brain is firing with listening to Dr. David. There's a section, I want to refer everyone to a Stuart Brown. He studied a heavy-duty study of play. Play is prerequisite to the development of language. So that's why I had such a heavy course of play in my master's program. He suggests, and this is in my show, he suggests that as adults, we should return to the roots of our play. He suggests that we explore backwards as far as we possibly can to the most joyful, playful experience that we have ever had in our lives. And he suggests that we work to insert some form of that play into our adult lives. And without even realizing it, that's what the walk did for me. Because as a city child, every single weekend I was hiking, I was traveling the brook up to the Garrett Mountain, and I realized through the walk that that's what I was doing. I was replicating the form of play that gave me so much joy in my past life. And just recently, I, with my daughter, did an Alaskan glacier hike. Rather than do the helicopter, I did this hike. And it was beyond my capability. People have corrected me. It wasn't beyond my capability because I did it. It was harder than any day on the Camino because it's too, for me to be climbing hand and feet on rocks was just excruciating. But the only thing I can tell you is that I can't even describe it with words. That day of pushing myself to that kind of extreme brought me to a different headspace that I wish I could replicate in my life. But the bottom line is I want to refer everyone to Stuart Brown. and his teachings. And even you, Ashley, to think in terms of that, what physically in your past was something in a form of play that you can replicate now, because I can only tell you it brings you to a different space.
And that's exactly what Dr. David's teaching, right? Did
Well,
you
I
ever?
was about to say, and that's so awesome. Like, so if you closed your eyes, right, and you put yourself in that place at that time, and you just remembered it, you would feel it. And what I do now is, like, for example, I was in Malibu at and it was just, we're with my family. We're at Point Doom. It's like looks over. It's where they filmed Planet of the Apes, that beach. But it's the point on. It's the cliff over it. It's beautiful, and I was just a beautiful moment. And I had this like almost coherent. I have these with it's the opposite of an anxiety attack. When you do this work a lot, you start to sink into that. All of a sudden, the breath comes in and your heart opens and you feel it. So I'm in Malibu and I have this in this moment and the sun is shining and I have this moment. So I take a picture with my phone. So what I would do for you is when those moments happen, take a picture with your phone. And
Yeah.
then you can always, and you can see it on your computer and you can bring it up and you can always experience that again because that feeling is what you're really looking for. And you don't have to go, it's almost like how could we bring those feelings back into our daily life again? And I love that.
How lucky I am that every time I perform this show, every time I get to that section, I am repeating that. And that's your job as an actor, is to make it for you. And I have that good fortune of having all that exists for me every time I perform.
Imagine they're all in here, by the way, all those amazing thoughts. I work with a veteran, horrible PTSD. When we started to speak about what brought him love, he remembered his grandparents. And like, here's this guy who's been through all this stress. So I'm watching him and we're on a Zoom and we're going through the technique and the breath work and his eyes are closed. And I'm watching him and I know what he's thinking because and his heart rate variability is going through the roof. And I'm watching this guy who's been through much stuff and the smile on his face as he's breathing, like I can almost get choked up for me to have that experience, watching him
Right.
be happy and feel like, and so my point is we don't get older. And I love, let's talk about our old life, but like our old life is still in there. So we tap into those times and we can emit those emotions and feelings, especially when we were younger. And remember, we're still the same people, as opposed to just keep bringing up our memories from our present, right?
Right.
Our memories that we keep reminding of that are reminding us of what's mediocre. And start remembering love and remember that feeling because the brain wants to do that. It wants to go there. So let's figure out ways, any way it is, whether it's on a hike or whatever. Anyway, sorry, I jumped in there, but I just wanted to connect with that feeling.
It's good. So I wanna Ashley, like I know you're on this path. We don't have to inspire you to be on this path, but what do you like? I guess your journey is starting now, right? To set yourself up for this wonderful trip you're taking.
Mhm.
What are you starting to do? What is and I believe that like I believe that divine intervention. I
Mhm.
believe that everything happens for a reason. And you hear on these two shows, right? It's your mom's birthday. You hear on these two shows, you're telling us about your trip to Sedona. So
Mhm.
what are you gonna capture from Celeste and Dr. David's information to take with you?
Yeah, so this is a big trip for me because I used to travel pre-stroke by myself a lot. So this is like my first solo trip after my stroke. So it's really big for me. And um, I've been saying for a long time before my stroke happened, I want to go to Sedona, Arizona. So I'm like, this would be a great time to go. I'm just gonna pull the trigger and go. But yeah, I'm setting up, like, different things to do that make me happy, like, I'm doing an ATV tour, doing different hikes I wanna see, I'm doing that guided meditation, I'm doing some stargazing, I wanna do, like, a spa day, so anything that makes me happy, I'm just doing in the moment, but I feel like I can take what you guys are saying too, like, when basically living in the moment and doing whatever makes you happy and take in, like, I don't feel like we don't see that here, like the red rocks and, like, the mountains. And so I feel like I can take that in and I can take a picture of it too. And hopefully that can bring me back to that moment.
And do what Celeste did on her road. Just record voice messages for yourself.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
don't have to take the time to write it down, but just like that voice message on your phone, just
Mhm.
record
Yeah.
it so that you could remember when you come back, so you stay
Yeah.
in space.
Yeah.
That's just incredible. Dr. David, what else are you working on that you can share with us that will bring us this has been an incredible show. I just love this world, and it's lifted my levels as well. And as much as I am positive, and you always need a boost. You always need that reminder of where you need to be and where you need to go. Because I still have I have a lot I want to finish in my life. I have a lot. I want to finish my books. I want to, do better on my tours. I want to work on my foundation. I want to, aside from my other career, which sustains me in life, working for the Radburn Association Taylor Management, which is a wonderful management company. And Radburn is just a magical place to live, to work. That's where Celeste lives, in the Radburn Association, and it's just a magical place. But I'm 63, and if I have 25 more 30 years of really pushing for my life, because my grandmother lived till 97, so I hope to live till at least 97. I have a lot of stuff I still want to work on. So help me to work on that, Dr. David.
So the things I'm working on right now,
Yeah.
so besides working one-on-one with people, with this work, I'm also doing some corporate speaking, working with actually a couple lawyer seminar groups where we're going to be speaking and doing kind of talking their people down off the ledge, in their
Yeah, yeah,
seminars. So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
available to speak with corporations and businesses, which is a lot of fun. And that's it. I work part-time in a practice. I still have to put hands on people twice a week. I was able to get that back after being out for 3 years, and I love doing that. It helps me stay creative when I can use my hands and my heart. It's a mostly Spanish speaking office, so
Hmm.
I don't know, like all I can use is my hands and my heart most of the time, and
Wow.
it's really what has stimulated a lot of what we're doing now, working with people. So that's it. I've got a program working with some athletes, with another doctor. We work specifically with some high level athletes and peak performers. We have a podcast. We talk about some of the things we do with those high level people. We do a lot of metrics with blood work and functional movement assessments and the heart rate variability work that we do to kind of peak their performance. So I work a lot with performance, but it gives me the kind of the experience to be able to help people just manage their normal everyday lives. We all have at the end of the day, you're a high performer, or you're a CEO, or you're a mom, or you're a chiropractor, or you're a plumber, or whatever you are. You're kind of dealing with the same thing. Right?
Mhm.
So it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter, it turns out. So if you have anxiety and stress, it's probably affecting your health. And if you have a concern about that, I really enjoy talking to people about it and finding out ways to help you navigate that. And if it's something that I can do specifically through my free community and the program we have, or you want to work one-on-one, we kind of figure that out together. But I just take a real laid back approach towards life these days. I not run the practice anymore like I used to, and all the craziness of that. This is my new life, which I've chosen to just take out of the fire the parts that I love, which is being able to seriously connect and serve people, and be able to do it in a way that I can physically do this probably until I'm 97 as well.
Good. We'll hang out on 97, all of us.
We will get a place over at where my mother-in-law is.
Yeah, we'll
Over-
go up to the Wanakee Reserve.
Yeah,
We'll
we
be
great.
running treadmills there.
You know what? You go up there and that really, because you have created a program up there that still exists where it's active and they're living. And if you're going to, and it's a great community. And I have to say, I'm sure it's a lot of the stuff that you had set up at the very beginning, because I
You know
saw
what?
that. I spoke at there. You invited me up there to
Yes.
speak to the group.
Oh, that you spoke at the Wanakee
Yes,
Reserve. You
yes.
went on my show. But I will tell you that I have learned in leading in the lifestyle, the management industry, that one of the things that I'm writing a book on lifestyle as well, and all that is it's not about us. It's not about us. It's about the people. What do they want? In Radburn as well. What do you guys want? Whatever floats your boat, because I can come up with a bunch of ideas that it's not going to work if you're not engaged in it, if it's not what the community wants. So when I was up there, Pulte was just selling the units and they were still in command of the building, and I was working for First Service Residential, Wentworth at the time. And Barbara Jaquette, who was the board president working for Pulte, she actually entrusted in me to do my thing. And that allowed me to use the people there that, they're active adults, which I'm over 55 as well. So, when you have a lifestyle that you have so much experience in, you want to kind of use that. You want to continue to use that. So we tapped into everybody's experiences, even the board used that on the financial end. The board used that on a architect end. The board used that to feed, because it keeps not only does it make the people feel valuable and still working and doing a good cause for their community, but it also keeps the maintenance down, right? Because you don't have to
Look at the
pay
wisdom.
you've got somebody to do it.
They're all active.
whole
They had
network.
lives. They have so
Yeah.
much wisdom too.
Yeah.
What a great board.
Yeah, and Radburn is the same thing. Radburn is a really family-oriented community, which is I'm fortunate to have worked for two. I've worked for a few others in between, but those are two that are just they're precious and they're divine. And in Radburn's not active adult community. It's from newborn to 100. And in Radburn was the first community in the United States that was actually labeled a community. So I recommend everybody check out Radburn Association. The tours that Rick and Steve do are just incredible, and the Substack, the stories they have, they'll just blow your mind. It's such a wonderful, in-depth national historic community. It's a national historic community. So, I've been very fortunate to be placed in those two locations. It's wonderful. So I don't want to keep everybody too long. It's a Sunday and we only have 5 more minutes, but I do always want to give everybody the last opportunity to share what they've learned from the show and what they're going to take away with it. And of course, we always welcome everybody to come back, especially after you go on your journey, Ashley. We're going to have the same 2 shows. We'll bring you back with Lauren and Dr. David, and we'll really talk about what you learn and where you're going and your journey, because it is, and we're on a journey, all of us. We're on a journey. So I'm going to let you go first, Ashley. What have you learned from the show and what do you want to take away from it?
I think I learned to do what makes you happy. And yeah, sorry, my cat is right here. She's like,
oh, bring her in, let us see her.
Oh, I thought she jumped down. I have 2 cats and a dog. I'm like,
When I was doing my telethon a few years ago and I had Father Sam, he always opens the show with the prayer. My dog wouldn't stop barking, so he just picked her up and he had her in the video. He was petting her, had her in the video. So
I know. I'm like, like some animals.
So you want to be happy. Be happy.
Yeah. Do what makes you happy and don't put much weight on what other people think.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So Thank you, Ashley. We can't wait to hear
I'm excited.
Yes, and bring lots of photos so that we could take photos and that makes you happy. Celeste, thank you for getting up this morning. She's in California on her tour. And it was 5:45 when she, no, it was 5:45 when you got up.
Right. That's a
And-
big sacrifice for an actor.
I
Big
know,
sacrifice.
I know, but when we get done, you're going to sleep, right?
Exactly. Well, no, I got playing again, but so much whirling around my head. But I'm thinking specifically of Dr. David's discussion of heart variability, bringing me back to the moment when my father was dying, and they released all the connections and fluids, and we knew he was ready to pass. And I was with the hospice person watching his heart rate, and the hospice man said to me, talk to him and you'll see the variation. But instead of talking, and I'm going to get emotional, I started to stroke his arm and sing the songs that we sang together.
Oh,
And the heart variability was just fascinating, watching it go up and up. And at the very last moment, he hadn't spoken. He sang the phrase along with me
Oh,
at
wow.
that
oh,
moment. And he actually croaked out that phrase and sang along with me. And I just watched that heart monitor, and then, you know, and
that's
then,
a that's a beautiful last memory to
yeah,
capture you, knowing that he went out singing and joyful and,
yeah,
because our lives are going to end, we don't know when, so we should live each life day like it's the last, each
yeah.
moment like it's the last. Thank you for sharing that, Celeste. Did
And
you have,
also, I have to push Dr. David and Ash. They're coming to see my show. It's going to be local, Rutherford,
Yes.
All
Williamson.
right.
You better come. Well, a
yeah,
lot of what we're talking about is in that show.
it really is. It really is. And what I love about it is she makes you crack up. She's like, you'll crack up, but then it's like the stage goes dark, which it doesn't, but she very quietly walks over to a podium and she says some affirmations. And she makes you think. It's very powerful, very, very powerful, and very well done, very well written.
I would
Very,
love that. I would love to see that.
yeah,
Ha-
yeah, yeah. You'll be
Send me
talking
the
about
link.
it a lot. Yeah, I
I
will.
will.
Yeah, so he's on the email, so you could just send us the email for that.
Great, great. Thank you, Renee.
Oh,
Thank you,
anytime.
Ashley and Dr. David. Thank you.
Oh, anytime. Dr. David, I'm gonna let you close the show, before
I don't know how I can finish better than that, except for let's just stay in that moment and just acknowledge all of our hearts, acknowledge why the four of us would show up on a Sunday and why anybody would be here is to just connect with each other. You mentioned that the title was a journey, but like Celeste's journey, her was not alone, right, on her hike. It was with these women, and you don't have to do this alone. So let's connect with our hearts, connect with those moments in our life, and remember they're stored away. Try to bring them up and try to feel them again because it brings us to a healthier place. So maybe we'll end with that.
and Dr. David, I want to reiterate, I want to bring it back full circle that your intention is to transcend spirits,
Yeah, I
so that,
want to get you to stop feeling crappy about yourself and feel good because you're going to do much better with your life when you're coming from a place of love and creativity
yeah,
as a place of survival where we're so
yeah.
closed down. We want to open up our hearts. We want to live to serve. And we're either thinking about ourselves because we're in survival because whatever's going on in our life, it's not a great place to be. If we can get ourselves to, we can kind of get over that and focus on others, it brings us to a different place in our heart. And there's a process to do that if you're having a hard time getting out of that mucky place. And we all get there and go there. It's an effort to stay out of it, but there's things you can do, and it's changed my life. And I would love to be able to share it with others.
And I will share it on the rewind when I send it out via e-blast and your links and everything. We'll share your links with everybody for both of your shows, for both of your for both your websites and stuff like that. So thank you so much for everybody. What an incredible inspirational show. What an incredible day it was. Just and they really did tie together both shows, and we don't do that on purpose. It just kind of evolves like that. So it's incredible. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoy the moments today, and just find that thing that makes you happy and stay on that, whether it's a photo, whether it's a video, or, if we're going to click and we're going to look at photos, make sure they're making you happy and bringing you to the next level, like Dr. David says. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Celeste, for co-hosting today. And thank you so much, Dr. David. On 3, we're going to blow kisses if you feel comfortable. 1, 2, 3. Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful
Bye.
day.
You
Bye.
too.
Bye-bye.